Hi everybody, this is Killguard for our tournament fighting. This time a special Silk edition. You'll notice that I'll be using the usual word map fight for this one, and that by having one or two stripes completed, that means easy. Medium having three, five being hard. What we fight in those fights? Dogs, mages, and AV range with the Stainling. So, is there one unit type that is strong against both mages and light melee? No. Is there one unit that is strong against both mages and AV range? No. Is there one unit that is strong against both AV range and light melee? Yes, that's AV melee, and that's what we'll be using mostly. In those kind of fights, it's quite easy. You need AV melee to fight both the dogs and the EV range, and just enough troops to kill the mage as fast as you can, and after that it's pretty easy. So those fights are quite straightforward, but usually quite costly in what unit troops you use to kill the mages, because the others are quite strong against them and they get slaughtered fast. So what to use? Well, I'm using humans right now. Elf is quite the same thing. So most of the fight will be done with either Paladin or Valerian Guard if you have them. They are pretty much the same about EV range units. Valerian Guard having a defensive abilities against light melee units, while Paladins have an offensive ability and a bit more health. But more health, no defense. The other got less health, more defense, pretty much even between the two. For the elf, you're just using Trent. They are just great. Or Valorian Guard, but Valorian Guard is less effective in those kind of situation that the Trent. But Trent is better than the Paladin. So for humans, we're pretty much stuck choosing between the two. To kill the mages, we need light melee units or light range units. I strongly recommend, if you have them, using the dogs. They are absolute mage killers, 5 stars against mages, but you could also use either rangers, who are quite strong against them, or just the archer crossbowmen. The problem with those, your Stainling is far stronger against light range than against light melee, and the dogs with all their moves will get to your range units pretty fast, and even though it's only 3 stars, that's quite something nonetheless. So I prefer personally to use the dogs, kill the mages, and then have my paladins or any other AV melee troops deal with the rest. One advantage more of the dogs is that the Stainlings, even though they are strong against light melee units, have no defensive bonuses. So they do great damage, but they die as fast as anyone. So when the mages are dead, you can use your dogs to attack the Stainling for decent damage nonetheless, which is absolutely impossible using range units. And light melee units have more health than range units, so again they tough a little bit more. Those kind of fight, as I said, quite easy. You can even do auto fights. What I'd like to do is have dogs in the middle, go all Paladin and auto fight, as the mages is your fastest unit, but still and faster than the dogs. It will advance, get caught by the dog, killed, and then all the other troops would slaughter your dog, and your paladin would finish them off quite easily. So that's for your usual fight. What's less usual is having more mages, or very strange situation where there is no mages. In this case, with only one heavy range units and mostly dogs, for elf, Trent, way to go. But against more light melee units, I would add in the fold maybe 1, 2, or 3 orc warriors that are way better against light melee than the paladins could be. Against, that's pretty much your choice. They are not as effective and protected against heavy range units, but far better against light melee units. So when there's not too many of those, you can add a few orcs in the mix to fasten the killing of the dogs, and then your paladin or Valorian guard, damn that's hard to pronounce, will hit the heavy range units. And right now, as you can see in the fight, my unit size is like pretty much twice the enemy, so very easy fights. But the trick is to have just enough dogs to kill those guys, and the rest can deal with the light melee and the range. As we should do usually, let's scout a bit to see what the terrain look like. Okay, so anything here will be stuck by those two troops, so don't put a fast one here. Okay, the bit harder. Surrender. As I was the first, I lose nothing. So cannot be the fastest. As I predicted, the enemy goes advance as much as they can to close the gap. Usually you don't want your dogs to be targeted by the mage too early on because of the buff that they receive, Hunting, Edge, and Witchcraft, which, as you can see, reduce both defense and attack. And I don't want my dogs to have less attacks, as I want those sorcerers to be killed as fast as possible. So if you can have the hits goes to one of your paladin, that's better. In this case, I couldn't do it because if I put a dog there, he can't get out because of the order of the units goes always bottom, top, and so on. So let's kill this guy. Let's kill this guy. Counter attack. Let's, oh, pretty much dead. After that, quite easy. Advance as much as you can. Hit if you can. Get rid of the mages, all of them, as soon as possible, ASAP. Because the X's that they do will affect one unit and then another and then another and then another. So you have to get rid of them the fastest way you can. Again, I could kill the dogs, but they are not the strongest hitter right now. Counterattack will kill this one. And this way I get rid of the highest threat. and I just advance my EV Mini. As a matter of fact, I don't really need them because this is an easy fight. If that were not, uh, the point is to kill always the mages first to avoid the X's, then the AV range as they have big damage increase, and you finish simply with the dogs, which will be done right now. So that's it, folks. Thanks and see you next time.